A short lesson on percentage increase and decrease. The starting point of everything is a whole or 100%. A strange statement, but when we do a calculation and something is increased by 20%, then we're assuming that it starts at 100 and we're just adding the 20. So the new value will be 100 plus 20% times the original value. Or you could write that as 120%. Or 1.2 if you're using a decimal. So if the problem was increase $350 by 20%, you would say 100 plus 20% times 350, put that into your calculator, and you should get 420. Check that now. Or you could do it as a decimal. 120% is 1.2 as a decimal, so you just put in 1.2 times 350, and you get the same answer. If you are asked to decrease something by 20, then again we start at 100 and we subtract 20. So the new value would be 100 minus 20% times the original value. Or you could write it as 80%, or if you're working as a decimal, 0.8. So if we took that $350 and wanted to decrease it by 20%, we would write it as 100 minus 20% times 350, put that into the calculator, and you should get $280. As a decimal, well, 100 minus 20 is 80, so 0.8 times 350 if you're working with decimals. Here's a word problem. The cost of food increased by 12% due to the drought. If a trolley of groceries used to cost $235, what will it cost after the increase? Now just look for the keywords. $235 increased by 12%. So it's just a percentage increase problem. And if we're looking for what we have to say in our first step, the question is what will it cost? So we're going to write amount of money, 100 plus 12, and we're going to times by 235 and get our answer. If we were using a decimal, well, 112% is 1.12 times 235 and we get the same answer. And then don't forget to write a sentence, something like the cost of the trolley of groceries will be $263.20. Here's a second one. The sale price of a jacket was advertised at 60% off. If the original price was $365, what was the sale price? Well, again, let's look for the key things. 365 and it's 60% off. So it's a percentage decrease problem. The question is, what's the sale price? So again, we're going to go amount of money. It's 100 take away 60% times the 365, and we'll end up with $146. If we're working in decimals, well, 100 take away 60 is 40, so 0.4 as a decimal, and it's a much quicker calculation, 0.4 times 365. And then again, write a sentence, something like the sale price of the jacket will be $146. A GST calculation is just a percentage increase. For example, calculate the cost of air flights, which cost $595 plus GST, with GST being 15%. Well, we're looking for $595 and we plus 15%, so it's a percentage increase problem. The amount of money will be 100 plus 15 times 595, which is $684.25. As a decimal, 115% is 1.15. Multiply that by the 595 and you get the answer. So our sentence will be something like, the cost of the air flights including GST will be $684.25. Now there are far more trickier problems which we'll do later, but those are the basics. So it's time for you to find that checkpoint, percentage increase checkpoint, and see how well you do. Try get 100%.